Hi, it's Dougie Wood, and in this video I'm going to talk about how many Teams channels you should have. Now this is kind of a part 3 continuation video where we've previously talked about Teams channels. If you've not seen that video, watch that first because it's going to make a bit more sense. And I also talked about creating private Teams channels as well. Now, a lot of people say to me, well, how many channels should I have? So as a quick recapper, a Teams channel should only be used really to break out conversations and files. Now, there's a couple of different examples of why you might want to use them. So let's say, for example, you've got a sales team and you've got regional sort of offices around the world, and you're going to sort of create different channels for the different offices to sort of collaborate together whilst keeping it all under one roof of sales. In my own kind of teams before, we've tried to do it where we've created a projects team like this, and then we try and run a channel per project that we're on. So we just have a team called projects, and then we have a channel per project. But if you're like me, where a lot of my teams, when we're kind of always running somewhere between say 20 and 30 projects all at one time, it gets very kind of uncontrollable and difficult. So the intention being that we would have these channels so that, let's say for example, I've got a channel that's called whatever project Contoso, and a client calls up from Contoso to speak with me, but I'm on lunch. I would expect my colleague would potentially then go and find that channel and post into it and say, Dougie, Joe Bloggs from Contoso has called for you. Can you give him a call back? In reality, because we've got say 20, 30 different channels, it ends up being a bit more of a kind of pain to be able to do that. So people go down the path of least resistance, which is actually to fall back to this general channel and post directly into there. So we've lost that kind of segregation, that siloing of what we were trying to achieve by having all of our conversations based around projects. So for that, I would say ideally the sweet spot I found is that around 5 or 6 channels is about the sweet spot. Anything over that, you tend to find that whatever you're trying to categorize or kind of silo into those kind of particular funnels, you're going to water down the kind of point of it, and people are going to refer back to the kind of path of least resistance, which is always going back to that general channel. So really think about why you're creating those channels, and if there's any overlaps or anything which is going to cause confusion when people are wondering, where do I post this type of content? Because that's the other thing, it is actually making sure that it's easy to understand um, where something's going to be, because not only is where you're going to post it, it's also where other people are going to find it afterwards. So where was it that I saw that planning rota sheet that was going to be? Oh, okay, well, it's most likely going to be inside the planning channel. So those are the sort of things you should be thinking about when you're designing what channels you're going to have inside of your Microsoft team. I hope you found that video useful. If you did, please do like and subscribe to my channel. It really does help, and you're going to get alerts for all the kind of latest Microsoft Teams training tips.